All right, Georgia versus Tennessee, 3:30. Georgia, a 3.5 point favorite. Started off as a 7 point favorite. I would say the public, not the sharps, are riding with Tennessee after Georgia's putrid performance against Austin P. What are your opening thoughts?
Uh, Opening thoughts are the same as they were. I think when you asked me on a scale of 1 to 10 how concerned I am after watching the first two games, and I said I'm an 8, and I would say I remain to be an 8. Based on pure talent, Georgia should win this game.
Yeah,
I
they out roster Tennessee.
say that again. I'm sorry.
They out roster Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. But I've not seen anything from Georgia, and that may be by design to a certain extent, that gives me much hope that we're going to have an offense any different than what we've seen for the last year and a half, which is a lot of horizontal passing, a lot of less than ideal offensive line play, and not stretching the field vertically and not using all parts of the field, meaning the width of the field. So I'm concerned, but and you're going in with a young team that has not played on the road. There is that environment, and I can tell you from being in Neyland Stadium, it is a loud atmosphere, and it will be extremely loud. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see Georgia early try to stretch the field. And by the way, you may know this, but evidently the two starting corners for for Tennessee are out,
Right.
which tells me they're probably going to play a lot of zone.
Yeah.
I don't know, but in which case the deep vertical is probably going to be hard to hit. But even if that's the case, I would like to see them stretch the field early. I would like to see us score early and get some momentum and I won't take the crowd out of it, but it'll deaden it a little bit. But if we let this thing get away from us, if we're 3 and out and we kick and they get it on the 40 and they score, this thing could get bad quickly. So I hope Georgia gets a faster start, stretches the field vertically, and the offensive line is more dominant than what I've seen. But they've had a tough time in short yardage plays over two games against non-Division five teams. So concerned about that, and quite honestly, even though he hasn't been sacked, some of this Gunner is reading the field really quickly, too quickly. But I think some of it has to do with he's getting some pressure in his face, and as soon as he does, and he's not seeing the reads, he pulls it down and runs, which salvages what could be a negative or no gain for at least a positive play. I like that part, but this offensive line has got to hold up a little bit better against Tennessee, or we could be in trouble.
Look, I think Georgia's offense, if it's remotely the same as it was last year, they should be okay against Tennessee. Tennessee's defensive line, they have a defensive lineman, a starter out again. He's probably going to be out for a while. And I saw that they have a couple more defensive linemen that are banged up. I think they can do enough to get out of there with a win. And I think right now that's all that really matters because we're so early in the season.
That is all that matters.
We're so early in the season. I don't have no idea. Like you said, I don't know anything about this team yet. So to me, I'm not. I would say I'm concerned, but I have the expectation that Georgia should do enough to get done. Mike Bobo has called. I think last year against Tennessee was one of the best games that he called all season. And I also think 23, that was the best game he ever put together. I think his whole time at Georgia, I would even put that up against 2013 Georgia LSU. I mean, that was an unbelievably called game from a play call standpoint. So that part I'm not too particularly worried about. Defensively, I think Georgia's defense is elite. I think Georgia's defense is really good. I think they have a great defensive line. They have tons of depth there. I think the linebackers can fly around. I think our corners are really good, and I think our safeties are really good. So in Tennessee's offense and Heupel, he's going to want to pound the rock and get the big plays off of the play action. And whenever you have a defense that can run sideline to sideline and they're quick and they're tough in the run game, that's a matchup-wise, that's really hard to do. And I know Tennessee fans are thinking Joey Aguilar is Peyton Manning 2.0, and he's looked pretty damn good the past 2 games. But, I mean, who have they played? It would be my first question. And secondly, and I guess you could say the same about Georgia.
Yeah, and their offense, and I would interject just real quickly. Their offense has looked better than Georgia's, and I would say their competition is probably stiffer than what Georgia's played. So anyway, I'm just
maybe I don't know about that. But here's my point. Joey Aguilar, the whole knock on him was, well, he turns the ball over a lot. Well, he's been pretty good at pushing the ball down the field. He's going to take chances, probably, I would imagine, in this game, given the situation. I would expect Georgia to force turnovers. That's at least my expectation. So defense travels. Doesn't really matter about where you are and what environment you're in. Defense travels. I would expect Georgia to, Kirby. And since Heupel's been there, how long has Heupel been there? 2021 was his first year, so 4 seasons,
right. 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, so the 4 seasons that he's been there, Kirby and Glenn Schumann, they have this system kind of, I wouldn't say figured out, but they have a pretty good handle of it. So that part I'm not really worried about. It's more about offense. And to me, Gunnar always, anytime he talks to the media, is like, well, I've always wanted to be, the starting quarterback at Georgia. And you're being criticized and wanting to be benched after 2 games in the season. That is the role of the Georgia quarterback. It doesn't matter.
By definition, you are now a Georgia quarterback.
Yeah. So now's the time to prove to everyone that you're the guy. And you're on the road. You're in Neyland. Kirby's put around a wide receiver room that we all think is good. Go and prove it.
Let it rip, man. That's even if you make mistakes. I think that's Colby Young said he's trying to be perfect. Hey, man, you got to have a little bit of, your name is Gunner. You got to have a little bit of a gunslinger mentality, especially, I don't want you to be careless, but it's okay to make a mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you make a mistake and they're, pinned down 20, our 20 or their 20 or more, that's okay. So we can live with it. Just don't do it 4 or 5 times. So that would be my advice. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect coming in. My expectation is Georgia to win and Georgia to, but I have a sneaking suspicion. Usually whenever I have this, it comes true. I think this is going to be a knife fight. I think this is going to be a 4-quarter by the edges type deal. I listened to somebody that I know yesterday talk about Georgia could be up 24 or 27-14, and it would make Kirby elated if they get a late touchdown with like a minute and change left with 2 timeouts left, and then all they have to do is take 3 knees in a row and let the clock drain out, and then everyone goes, well, Tennessee almost beat them at home. It was a 1-score game at the end there, and I can see that happening. So does the offense do enough to make plays to get out, and does the defense capitalize, get some turnovers for us, and can they dominate the line of scrimmage? I think yes. I think Georgia should be able to dominate the offense and defensive line.
Now, the reason, I'll just add this, the reason I'm not a concerned 10 out of 10 is because you said something that I think we'll wait and see is early. I think this Georgia defense can be elite. I think they're potentially that good. They're young, and they're going to get better as the year goes on. But I will tell you, I agree with you, and it gives me a little bit of confidence. And on the road, defense does travel, and I do believe that for whatever reason, Kirby and Glenn Schumann are not bamboozled by this Heupel offense. So that I agree with, and I am excited to watch this defense, play for the rest of the year and develop, because I think it has a chance to be really good if the defensive line can stand up and hold up as well as they have thus far. And again, it's been against who it's been against, but still, I feel good about the defense. I just hope that Saturday this offense gives me a little hope as well, which would mean let's stretch the field vertically every once in a while. That would be great.
And here's the other thing too. Like, we got Zachariah Branch, we got Noah Thomas. Both of these guys are speedsters. Where have they been in the past 2 games? Is this because
Zachariah Branch more than, but you can see you got to get the ball in that guy's hands, because he's electric. Number one, once he gets the ball in his hand, and I agree with you when you're throwing it sideways, whatever amount of percentage of time, it's hard to get those wideouts involved like that. So I agree. Maybe they haven't wanted to show that because we haven't played anybody and hadn't needed to show it. But I think in terms of confidence, that would help Gunners a little bit. And I think he's thinking that he has to be perfect right now, and I think he's afraid of Kirby and him turning the ball over. I could be wrong, but that's just me reading it. So he's got to get out of that mentality and be able to push the ball downfield.
If they score 30 points in this game like they did last year, I would assume that Georgia. If you told me today if Georgia scores 34 points, I'd say Georgia wins. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would say the chances are. I don't know if that's the magic number, but yeah, I would say I'd put the odds that Georgia will come out. I'll tell you what the other stat is whoever runs the ball better and has more running yardage, that's who's going to win the game. And probably it's cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. Whoever runs the ball for the most yardage and whoever doesn't turn the ball over is probably going to walk away and win this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if this is a 7-7 halftime score. It would not, because I think both teams are going to, well, one team is going to run and probably play clock management. The other one's obviously going to run the ball and go hurry up. I think the counter to doing a hurry up offense, go offense is draining the clock and limiting possessions. So I think that's kind of what you're going to see.
Well, if you see a 7-7 or something like that at halftime, that type of game, that is a Kirby Smart special. So if it's that type of game, I put the odds on Georgia gutting this thing out.
I think it's going to be that. I don't know. Here's the thing: Georgia loses this game, you're in a very difficult situation the rest of the year, and I'm interested to see how this team responds to adversity. They're young. This isn't like the past 2 years where they've had veterans who won national championships, who have been in bad situations and got themselves out. This team's not those teams. So how do they respond to adversity? Since Heupel has become the head coach at Tennessee scored first every single time.
Well, that'd be interesting to your point. How do they handle that with a first-year quarterback and a lot of young people, young guys? So we'll see. I don't know if they. My concern, as I said earlier, if I know they've scored every single year first, but if you let them start getting some momentum at home and that stadium gets even more raucous, that's difficult for a starting level. For a first-year quarterback and young guys. So
yeah. But I don't know. I know Tennessee fans love watching our stuff whenever it comes to Georgia-Tennessee week.
So. Oh, it does?
They
do? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they love coming on to any Georgia podcast and just talking. And they might be right. Good for them. It's been 8 in a row. You're due. You gotta have win sometime. 9 would be the longest win streak in this whole series. So good for y'all. I really hope something good happens for y'all. Not this year, but
Well,
maybe.
if we win, that means we paid off the refs. That's their favorite thing.
Well, of
I've
course.
never heard a fan base talk about us buying off refs and buying this and buy. I've never heard that more than I have from Tennessee fan base.
Well,
It's honestly quite comical. But
them and Alabama are the biggest what if fan bases in all of college football. If this, if that, and then Tennessee, the Vols would have won. So, good luck. I know you're really confident in Joey, and he's the greatest, and this running back room's the greatest, and the offensive line is better. I watched the Syracuse game this week. Okay. I mean, if that's what y'all want to roll them out. It's fine.
that's the other thing we have not talked about. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but that's interesting. I bet there's been a lot of dialogue between Kirby and Fran. What's his name? The Syracuse coach.
Brown.
This Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, to me, if I had $1,000,000, I would put it that there's been some conversations about that.
I'm sure. But Syracuse was farting around with UConn last week, and that's a big game for both of those schools. I don't know. And look, Syracuse was able to put numbers up. They were turning the ball over. That was the thing, and they couldn't capitalize whenever they would cross the 50. So I feel like if Georgia can capitalize and play decent defense, they should be in an okay position. For all the talk about how loud Neyland is and what a intense and what a great environment running through the tee and Rocky Top and Dolly and Georgia's relatively owned Tennessee in Neyland, so I don't know. I just Tennessee doesn't scare me like they think they do. I don't know. I just Georgia should be able to take care of business. They got a bye week next week, and then it's on to Bama. So, and that to me is the biggest game of the year. That's the telltale sign of how the season's going to go. So
Early on, to your point earlier, like this is a pivot for the Georgia fan, right? This is going to kind of tell you where you are for the rest of the year. And if you get through this game winning on the road, or you get a bye week, and you got Alabama coming to you with the problems that Alabama had, I feel pretty good. You lose this one, it's a total reset. You got to get some shit right between now and playing Alabama at home.
yeah, and then you're only spotted maybe one, maybe two, depending on how the rest of the season goes, to get into the dance, and that's all that really matters. That's the program expectation, is to get into the playoff and win. So you lose this, you're only spotted one or two more, and really that's dependent on everyone else. So just get out of there. It doesn't matter if it's by 1 point or 1,000. Just get out of there with a win. I don't have anything else other just I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to adjust my expectations because I haven't seen Georgia play under Kirby bad ever since the first year. I don't know.
I would be surprised if Georgia's not prepared. Georgia's not the type of team traditionally under Kirby that's going to beat themselves like with stupid penalties like you see the Florida do, 11 penalties. You're not going to get that. I doubt turnovers happen, but I don't expect us, especially as conservative as we've been, I don't expect us to be a turnover machine. So in terms of being prepped and prepared, I think Georgia will be obviously well coached. It's not that. It is the environment, it is the moment, and it is the ineffectiveness of our offensive line so far, based on what I've seen, is to control the line of scrimmage. That's more than Gunner's issues. I would say that has been I've been
I would agree
underwhelmed
with that.
by our offensive line play so far this year.
Well, we should get Juan Gaston back, and we should get Ernest Green back. So.
Is that a? I mean, I know you never hear that from Kirby, but I heard Juan Gaston's probably a week away, and Ernest Green might play. But you're hearing something different.
You know how Kirby's going to play this. I think they're going to be game time decisions. I think. Hey, honestly, I was going to give a shout out. Glover. I watched him. I don't know what his first name is, but 63 for Georgia, guard. He went in at guard last week against Austin P. Freshman. Let's see. Is it Dontrell? Dontrell Glover. I don't know how. I know Juan Gaston has the talent, and obviously he's pretty good. But Dontrell Glover, for me, he's got a little nasty in him. And I went back and rewatched.
Watch it if he gets in. I doubt he'll get in this game. He may. Who knows? But
he's got a little bit of nasty in him, and he blocks his ass off. And I don't know if it's because he's wearing 63, and I'm partial to that, and Cedric Van Pran. But damn, he played really good against Austin P. So if he gets in there, I'm not too worried about that. I'm more so worried about right tackle if Ernest Green is not in there, because that is a then it starts to get a little hairy. But I think they're both going to be able to play if I had to make a guess.
And I don't know. I mean, I was watching the Austin P game, and there were some on pass protection where there are some things that I would think a Georgia coach, like switch offs and things on pass protection, that we were just missing. Or we had called correctly and just didn't execute after it was called correctly. So those types of mistakes against a Power 5 team on the road will get you beat.
So here's my question to that. Is that more of, we're playing Austin P, so I don't have to execute at a high level, the human element comes in? Or is that an adrenaline thing? I don't know. That's what I've been kind of going back and forth on this week. Because, like Kirby says, it's never too bad as you think it is, and it's never too good as you think it is. So where are we as a team? I don't know. So I'm looking forward to this game because I have no expectations and I want to see what this team can do. So one way or the other. That's why I'm not like panicking or anything, because I don't know. It's unknown to me.
I think that's fair. I think that's more than fair. The only thing I would say is, based on 2 games, small sample size, and based the opponents that we played, Georgia has not been like the teams that we saw that went on to win. They haven't blown guys out and just controlled the line of scrimmage. When you're having trouble on short yardage plays against non-Division 5 teams and you're afraid to take shots downfield, that to me is those are just concerns. It doesn't mean it's a problem yet. It's just concerns.
Yeah. All right, well, before we get into predictions of the Georgia-Tennessee game, let's go run through Saturday's slate. So the big noon window for our bias would be the Tech-Clemson game at Bobby Dodd. Clemson's favored by 3.5.
I would take Tech, and I will take Tech to win, and I would certainly take Tech in the points. I think Tech is going to be a sneaky underdog to make the college playoffs. I really do. So we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm not going to live in fantasy world. I'll take Clemson. I'll take them the points. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to probably. Given how they played against Troy and Dabo talking about, I would boo the team too. I think I think Clemson should be okay on the road. And I mean, there's going to be just amount of the same Clemson fans that there are Tech fans. So. I'll take Clemson, even with the points. All right. We're not going to pick. Oklahoma's going to Temple. Like, they're going up to Philadelphia.
Wow. That's really crazy.
That's really weird. They're favored by 23.5. We're not going to pick that game. But
why?
Well, they played them last. I guess they did a home and home. Alabama is playing Wisconsin. You can get in, by the way. Tickets as low as $20. That's a kind of crazy thing.
Wow, that is crazy.
Alabama's favored by 20.5. I would take Wisconsin in the points. I know they've been ugly looking, but
Alabama's got problems, man.
They're stinky.
And I'm with you. That's a lot of points. I would take Wisconsin. They got a lot of pride and a lot of tradition. I don't know anything about them, but given the problems, and I want to see Alabama struggle. So I would take Wisconsin in the points.
Probably the greatest game ever on the CW network. Miami versus South Florida. Miami's favored by 17.5. Give me South Florida. I'm going to take that. Miami might be pretty good, and they might end up winning the ACC. South Florida's scrappy. I like that coach talking about Tennessee. They hired the wrong guy. I think South Florida's head coach I think he's actually really good. I like South Florida. I like that quarterback too. He's scrappy. I like scrappy quarterback.
He has a weird throwing motion, but it's effective. He winds up. Long delivery. I don't know if that's what you call it, but no, I'm with you. I screw Miami, and then that whole bullshit they got
Carson
going.
back. All right.
I used to like that coach, but the more I've seen of what he has done as a coach, game time decisions, I think he may be he should be on the short bus in Miami. I don't think he's too smart.
Ole Miss is playing Arkansas. Ole Miss is at home. They're favored by 7.5. I would say Ole Miss is going to win, but would not surprise me at all if Arkansas walks out of there with a victory.
Well, I'm gonna pick Ole Miss. I would usually normally pull for Arkansas because of Sam Pittman, but now where we are with the offensive line, I'm hoping that Arkansas fires him and that Kirby rehires him as our offensive line coach. So that's my reason for picking Ole Miss.
Shit, he might not ever coach game. He might be on a beach. That would be me.
That would be what I would be doing. I'm with you.
LSU, 7:30 in Tiger Stadium in Death Valley against Billy Napier, buyout Billy in Florida. LSU is favored by 7.5. So let's think about how bad Florida is right now since they lost to South Florida. That game was going to be the primetime game with Fowler and Herbstreit. Probably game day being at LSU. But because of Florida losing to South Florida and it looking like a dumpster fire, game day is now up at Tennessee for the Georgia-Tennessee game. And Fowler and Herbstreit, oh, by the way, our boy's going to be announcing the game. It's going to be Herbstreit and Fowler for the Tennessee-Georgia game. Yeah. Oh, guess who we're going to get to see? Peter, the dog. How exciting. Oh, I love golden retrievers. I love dogs on national broadcast games.
We really may turn the sound down and listen to the radio, even though there's a delay.
Yeah. So, LSU is favored by 7.5. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to take Florida because last year when it got really ugly for Florida and it looked like old Sling Blade was about to get fired, that Florida team rallied and played some of his best football down the stretch of the season. I think they know again that old Sling Blade's probably going to get fired. They're going to put up a fight. LSU's good. I think LSU's one of the better teams in the SEC. I'll take Florida to cover, LSU to win. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida wins. Would not surprise me.
I understand your reasoning and rationale behind it, but I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin. And I would say this, even if you're Florida and you win this game, how many more times you're going to be able to do this? Because from a national brand, think about how much that game, after they lost to South Florida, getting off of primetime hurt recruiting and the national brand of Florida. You cannot, if you're a proud program like Florida, regardless of the outcome of this game, you simply cannot do that. And when you see 11 penalties, and this is an ongoing problem. They cleaned some of that up as the season went along last year, granted, but it's every year. Last year's one when they put the wrong jersey on the guy or had two people with the same jersey. No, so it's that kind of shit that if you're a major program that has as much history and tradition as Florida, you can't. And I think LSU's on a mission this year because that guy is Brian Kelly's coaching for his job too. He can't lose to Florida. So
No.
I think LSU wins this one.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. Florida. I want Billy to stay there as long as he
By
can.
the by
So,
the way, LSU Florida used to be a big time rival.
it was huge. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, that was one of the bigger games in the SEC each year. So yeah. A&M goes on the road. They go to South Bend. Notre Dame's favored by 6.5. I imagine there's going to be a lot of A&M fans that go up and make the trip up there. I don't know anything about A&M. I know that they can lose this game and probably still make the playoffs. So, and I gotta tell you, I wasn't really all that impressed with C.J. Carr at the quarterback position for Notre Dame. But Notre Dame is physical. They're tough. They're gritty. I'll take A&M with the points, but Notre Dame to win.
I'll take A&M to win, and I obviously will take the points. I think A&M is going to beat them. I'm with you. I'm not that impressed with Notre Dame. We'll see, but Miami beat them, and I don't think Miami's that great. So,
yeah. All right. Vanderbilt goes to Columbia. This is a 7:45 game. South Carolina at home is favored by 3.5. That should tell you enough. Vanderbilt is, I would say the Sharps are saying that Vanderbilt can win this game. So I like Vanderbilt, always have been. I'll take Vanderbilt. I wasn't that impressed with South Carolina against Virginia Tech. And by the way,
I didn't watch them enough to anyway.
By the way, Vanderbilt went up to Lane Stadium and played the same exact Virginia Tech team that South Carolina played, and they beat the brakes off of them at home. Or not Vanderbilt home, but Virginia Tech at home at Lane Stadium. Vanderbilt, I would not be surprised, beats South Carolina and beats South Carolina by 10 or more points. Diego.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna take South Carolina because I thought South Carolina at the end of the year, if they would have gotten into the playoffs, they would have been a dangerous team. And I like that quarterback. And I think top to bottom, the roster of South Carolina is just better than Vanderbilt. So I'll take South Carolina.
All right. Well, there you go. I'm telling you, I think Vanderbilt's being slept on. I really do. So, all right. Now it's time to pick our game based on how I said mine. I think people kind of know where I'm leaning. But go ahead, Georgia, Tennessee. Georgia's favored by 3.5.
I'll always be. I've got for whatever reason, I got a bad feeling about this one, Bobby. So I'm going to go 37-24 Tennessee.
Yeah. They're going to beat us by 2 touchdowns?
37-24. So, yeah, it'd be a little less than that, but, right? Yeah. Okay.
2 touchdowns.
Well, I'm including an extra point.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see that happening at all. I think this can go one or two ways. I think Georgia could go out there, take care of business, and put belt to ass, and everyone goes, "Oh, well, we were kind of overreacting on Georgia's sloppy performance against Austin Peay." And this Georgia team's, one of the better teams in the country. Or it's a knife fight for 4 quarters, and it comes down to like 2 possessions. In these situations, will always go. I have been trained now. I'm not Munsoning like some people on this video who are extremely Munsoning right now. I won't. I've been trained. I'm in the Church of Kirby Smart, and I believe. So, in these situations, I always go with Kirby. He's won the benefit of the doubt since 2021. So, I'll take Georgia. I'll take Georgia to win. I think Gunnar Stockton, I'm praying, because I do not want to do nothing with quarterback controversy. I just don't want to do this again. I'll take Georgia 34. Tennessee 13. I think I'm being hopeful. But I can also see this being a 27-24 game with Georgia squeaking it out. So I'm hoping that it's the other my prediction.
We got quite the contrast in our pick, so one of us is going to be right. That's for sure.
Well, look, either way, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna gloat. I want to see. I have.
I want to be wrong. I want to be really wrong.
I have no expectations with this team. I didn't have any expectations when we did the preview. A couple weeks ago, I said I don't know what to expect from this Georgia team. They could be a national championship contender, or they could be a middle average team. I have no idea. So I'm looking forward to figuring out where my expectations should be. And this is why we pay Kirby Smart all that money and why we say that he's the greatest coach in college football. Let's prove it. So I don't have a problem with the situation like that. I think it's actually interesting that there's a little bit of that. It's going to suck, though, and I'm going to be very angry, but that's okay. I just realized who I am.
All right. Well, nice therapy session for yourself there.
Thank you. Also, my mic. I've been talking into the microphone for a very long time, and my microphone's been off. So, all right. Remember to like and subscribe. Terminus Sports _ATL on social media, which is Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, formerly X. Which, by the way, do not go on X anytime soon. Just take a couple days off. Come back on Sunday, or Saturday. I think Saturday will probably be back to normal. So follow us there. People have subscribed to us. We appreciate it. Keep subscribing. Hit the notification bell. We'll have a breakdown Sunday or Monday. If Georgia loses, I imagine it'll probably be Monday. If Georgia wins, could be Sunday. So let's just be positive and put good vibes out there. Georgia wins. All right. Anything for you?
Nope. Go Dogs. Even though I picked against you, I'm hoping I'm wrong.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the other side.
See ya.